What's up, guys? Chris here from Mainly Mesh, taking you through the long-awaited Command Universal review by Under Armour Lacrosse. So this is one of the hottest heads on the market right now. We blew through a ton of these on our website, selling them strong. Just a really solid overall head, but I want to take you through kind of what we've been finding, as well as doing a stringing tutorial, how we do it. This is opening up a new series on heads that we're really excited about. So here are just my overall comments. Without it being strung, this one is used, so I'm cheating a little bit. It's not entirely brand new, it's just kind of dirtied up. So this is not the first time I've touched this head by any means, but gonna give you some detailed looks. So basically, what makes the Command a little bit different, the first thing you notice is there's a very kind of stark, flat middle section in this head. That type of offset usually leads to a very kind of distinct energy transfer as the ball travels through the pocket, and is going to give you a nice overall feel, a nice kind of gliding exit from the stick. It's also going to lead to a very defined mid pocket. Whenever you have this flattened offset, it kind of makes, when it's centered right in the middle of the head, it gives a very nice swinging motion when you're cradling, and it's just going to feel really natural in the hands. They kept the sidewall struts pretty simple, which definitely had me a little worried about the overall strength of this, but as you can see, this has really held its shape well. It's a very strong head. Haven't really seen much warping in these at all over time, which is pretty awesome. Obviously, if you're a big, strong guy, if you're a defenseman maybe and you're hacking away, you might see some warping over time. But overall, they did a good job of beefing this up a good amount so that it can stay relatively intact over time. If we want to check out the weight of this, I mean, part of the reason they accomplish this strength is by getting the weight, upping the weight ever so slightly just to make it one of the heavier heads on the market. So if we weigh that right now, right here we have a brand new Command. It's got our ball stop in it because we take out their ball stops, but wanted to weigh it with a ball stop. Nothing else added on, so we can see here it's coming in at 5.2 ounces. If we want to change the unit over to grams, 147 grams. 5.2 ounces is definitely on the heavier end, so if we wanted to take a comparative head at that weight, we'd be looking at, starting off with the Maverick Tank, definitely a defensive head. We see that bad boy is coming in at 5.55 ounces, which is a lot more. The Command's most comparable to a head like the String King Mark I, which is pretty much the exact same weight at 5.15. And then you can see, though, that we start kind of undercutting the Command a little. Let me get that tear back. With heads like the Nike CEO coming in at 4.95 ounces. And then even the Critic coming in at 4.95. And then you can even really undercut it with heads like the Maverick Centric, which is 4.85, all the way down to a head like the STX Superpower Plus, which is coming in at 4.65. So I definitely wouldn't call the Command a light head by any means, but it's also not as heavy as some of the defensive heads out on the market. As you can see, it's on the heavier end of the spectrum, which is really my only kind of negative knock on this head. I prefer a lighter head in more like the 4.5 ounce range, a little over 4.5. It just, to me, creates a better balance in the stick, and sometimes when you have a heavier head like this, it ends up, for my balance preferences, needing a slightly heavier shaft, and then the whole stick's just a little bit heavier, which I don't really like. So, I mean, it's one of those things that kind of needed to do it, I think, to achieve this sidewall strut pattern and still have some strength. I think they really wanted to focus on the durability, but I would by no means call this a light head per se. So, one of my favorite aspects of this head, though, is the glide scoop technology, and they did a few cool things with it. The first and kind of more important thing is they took some cues from the old gate heads of the past. I wonder why they did that on Team 22. But what you're going to notice is as you rotate this head around, and you'll see it when we go to the field section later on after we do the stringing tutorial, no matter what way you angle the head, it's going to always lay flat to the ground. And better yet, they also added these little ridges to help kind of channel the head in a positive forward direction so that the momentum is carrying you through the ball. I'm not sure if that's gimmicky or not, but all I can tell you is that the scoop on this is a breeze. Probably my favorite scoop in the entire game right now, and that includes the Mark 1, that includes the STX Hammer 500. This right here is my favorite scoop in the game, and so I really give them kudos for that. As far as the stringing holes go, they have a solid amount. They essentially just kind of space the 17 holes that you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 holes that you normally see on some of the Brian and Warrior heads. They just space them a little bit differently, so the spacing in between these is slightly elongated, but you can pretty much use your normal patterns for the Brian Warrior heads as well as some of the newer STX and Maverick models. They translate over pretty well to this head, which you're going to see in a second. The only kind of negative thing I had, they use a T22 pattern here for the scoop, where they have kind of this recessed scoop holes at the back, which is one of my favorite things, one of my favorite patterns on the market. My only issue with it is I thought the scoop holes weren't quite wide enough, so they don't quite fit a triangle top. I think they could have expanded them a little bit more, and they also only put those recessed holes on 4 of them. If you're big into 6 hitches or something else, then you might wish that they had them here. I never really use these. I never really use a 6 hitch. I almost always am using a triangle top. So not a big knock there, but I would have liked them to see. You would have liked to see these just ever so slightly wider, because for a double hitch triangle top you need to fit essentially 4 sidewall diameters side by side, and this only can kind of fit like 3 or so. Overall, really impressive head. Under Armour is back on the map in a huge way. I really never liked an Under Armour head before this. You know, the Charge 2 came close, but it just wasn't quite there for me, and this is the first Under Armour head that not only am I taking seriously, but I really just enjoy the product overall. So, gonna take you through the stringing tutorial next, but that is my general review. We'll dig into some more stuff in a bit. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you guys next time.